Welcome to the Intrazone Roadmap Pit Stop November 2022 edition. This is your bonus monthly episode that answers that burning question in your mind. What's rolling out now for SharePoint and related technology in Microsoft 365? I'm Mark Cashman, Senior Product Manager on the Microsoft 365 marketing team, here to set that ongoing record straight. You're going to hear a different voice as a little bit of an audio clip that I pulled with my friend and peer, Kathy Dew. She's going to share a little bit more around what we do with site templates, how we design them, and the benefits that you get. And then, of course, we'll expose one of those new sets of site templates. There are 3 of them that rolled out this month. But it's really great to hear from our engineering colleagues exactly why and how we build SharePoint site templates. Beyond the breadth of site template innovation, we'll focus on everything that landed this month, a few related items, and the always fun teasers looking into next month. Okay, it is time to kick up your feet. You might even be on vacation right now if you're celebrating Thanksgiving here in the United States or elsewhere in any form or any holiday. I hope you at least have a little downtime, or I might be catching you on a walk so that you can learn while in stride with me what rolled out in November of 2022. As always, we start with employee engagement. These are the things that we're doing to refine your experience of how you communicate broadly to others, or maybe how others communicate broadly to you and how you consume it at that broad level. And the first one is kind of a personal one, but it also has to do with a lot of things happening around you. And this is in relation to Viva Insights, but specifically something that gets sent to you in Outlook. We've enhanced the briefing email, and we've added things like dynamic subject titles, tasks from Teams chats that's derived out of the intelligence of conversation, and integrations with Viva Learning. So first, the briefing email that comes from Microsoft Viva helps start your day and keep track of things that are surfacing around you based on conversations and meetings, and helping you follow up on outstanding tasks, and of course to do the ever important protecting of your time for your independent work. A few updates that are coming to the daily briefing are highlighted based on tasks coming from Teams chats, and it then highlights key information with some things that are actionable. And I think you'll get a sense when I highlight a few. Currently, the subject line of the briefing email is pretty static. It's your daily briefing. But going forward, the briefing email will feature dynamic subject lines based on content available to specific users, and will enable users to have a quick preview of values presented in email. So it's not just a briefing, it's a briefing with a very specific subject in mind. The service will also now suggest tasks, like I mentioned, from your one-on-one Teams chats interaction. So that content will further allow you to stay on top of what you've committed to or requested from others or need to do as a follow-up. For things like commitments and follow-ups, something that you promised or committed to do for someone else in the Teams chat, or something another person asked you to do, or it was a task that was added, that you added or has been added to your actual to-do list, and you're getting that reminder to either take action on it, like you're finished, so you click done, or you want to be reminded of that item or action later, or if you've already completed it, you might actually click delete. These are all actionable buttons that are based on what you've been doing and what you've been talking about. And in that briefing email, you get to see a really nice summary and then click through what it is that you do want to do or no longer need to do. It's very, very quick, and it's very focused on you, your experiences, your conversations, all with privacy in mind, of course. The last example is this nice cross-integration between Viva Insights and Viva Learning. So if you are a Viva Learning customer, you will see related learning cards for assignments tracking. So right from within the briefing email, you can book time on your calendar if that learning is either required or of interest to you. And of course, you can edit things like book time if you wanted to book time, or if you wanted to change some of those book times. So it's a very actionable, very personalized experience, and it's delivered to you right in Outlook based on a lot of those activities of what you're doing. Next is also a Viva Insights update. There's a new Praise Compose experience right inside of Teams. This is accessible through the messaging extension, pinned to the Teams messaging bar, or throughout the Viva Insights app in Teams. And, like I mentioned, it's getting a refresh. This will replace the praise badges with emojis and introduce the ability to select a gradient background so you can make them a little bit more personalized. Additionally, in the Viva Insights app in Teams, praise trends are being introduced, privately surfacing analytics such as counts of praise, sent and received, and of course, your top fans and top praises received. So there's a lot of polish and update with some of those things that are giving you those insights based on either praises you've given or praises that you've received. Sticking with Viva, but from an admin perspective, there is a new Viva admin experience in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. The Viva Collections experience now has a brand new look where you can configure licenses, roles, and access individual app configuration pages. Admins will be able to deploy Viva from a common place within Microsoft 365 Admin Center and find guidance on how to best configure their tenants. So it makes the rollout of Viva all up or the individual apps a lot more easier and a lot more guided. So to find this, it's now discoverable, doing a search and discovering the Viva apps within the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. You can navigate to the experience via the Setup tab, and then you click into the Viva Collections and choose what it is that you want to do. From the new Suite Setup page, you can see details about the Viva apps that you have in your tenant, including the plan type and the admins assigned with permissions to manage one of the specific apps or all of them. Of course, you can assign and delegate in the way that you want that makes sense for how you delegate across a number of people, or maybe one person will manage all of Viva. Last, for admins from a Viva app perspective, this one is for Viva Goals. There are some new admin capabilities coming for Goals. As a global admin, you can control who can enable the interactions by enabling or disabling user permissions to create and manage organizations in Viva Goals through the organization creation permissions. We will also be launching new integrations for Power BI and Planner, Microsoft SQL, Dynamics, Jira, Zapier, and Workplace. There's a lot of great new documentation across the breadth of Viva administration where you can go and control what goals can integrate with and how you can manage that from a back-end perspective. You can certainly restrict certain and different creation permissions and always to assign the roles at the Viva Goals app level. So there's a lot that's new for Viva admins. Of course, there's a lot new always for Viva end users. And I think you will also enjoy a lot of that granularity of control if you're starting to have that ownership of managing Viva. Now, the last thing for employee engagement is one of the big dig items. I bet you've heard of this one, but we've reached a new milestone for the SharePoint tenant URL rename feature. We are now at general availability, still not at full availability, but you'll get what I mean. This is now generally available to organizations that have less than 10,000 total sites, and that's both OneDrive sites and SharePoint sites. So if the total number of sites is under 10,000, you can use this. This is now available to any tenant that meets this criteria. We are certainly working on our larger customers and managing those, some very large customers one-to-one, but also working on the feature to expand beyond 10,000 total sites. But if you have the need, we know that you evolve your workspace and rebranding or expanding through acquisition or reaching the global market by adding satellite locations or different locations, different branch offices. Those might be specific to rebranding, and you want to rebrand your organization's name, say from Contoso to Fabricam. Or you might have started off with a test name for your tenancy like contosoqa.sharepoint.com, and you wanted to rename to your tenancy's final name, contoso.sharepoint.com. In whatever way you started, now you have the flexibility to, of course, get current and update to the proper name. With the tenant rename capability, you'll also be able to have the SharePoint domain in all site URLs updated to the new name that you choose and continue with the new name going forward. So So to put it into perspective, it's kind of like how Madonna Louise Ciccone evolved into just Madonna, which makes it a lot more easy for me to say. But now, if she were a Microsoft 365 customer, she could finally rename her tenant to simply madonna.sharepoint.com, which gives me a huge sigh of relief. So you don't get locked in. Let's get to it. Change your tenant name. There's nothing to it. Vogue. I hope you get the notion of if you change your name or you simplify your name, you're not locked into that SharePoint URL, and of course you can change it. So it's a really great milestone to see. A lot of people in the past really got stuck into, we named it this either in testing or we changed our brand. So we changed our name and we want that to be reflected internally and externally. Now you can, especially at that SharePoint and OneDrive level. All right, moving beyond tenant admins and things you can do with Viva Admin and the Microsoft 365 admin level. And we're going to get a little bit more down to the site owner level. And to kick us into the teamwork area for this month, I wanted to take a pause and bring in my friend Kathy Dew to share a little bit more insights on SharePoint site templates, to learn a little bit of how we build them and how they benefit you, especially if you haven't done some of the things that the templates do for you before. You at least get to see the art of the possible, or leverage the templates and let them do the work for you. So without further ado, here is Kathy Dew.
Site templates are pre-configured scenario-based quick start templates. So as we look at site templates, we build out scenario-based templates that are basically a great way for you to get started in creating a site. So think about you're creating a new project site. We have a project management template. In that template, there is a homepage with some content, some samples of what you might need for that project. There's a list included using one of our great list templates from Microsoft Lists. There's document libraries, there's page templates included, sample pages. So we think of site templates as a way for you to not only get started quickly in a scenario, but also as a way to get inspired by great looking designed sites within SharePoint. So giving you some inspiration, ways to build sites and pages that you haven't thought of before.
All right, I am going to take from where Kathy led us into this broader definition and the way that they design site templates to actually start to talk about the 3 site templates that were delivered in November 2022. These are new SharePoint site templates, and one of the big ones is covering and gives you a great head start if you're using Microsoft Syntex. So there are 3 site templates. These are all dedicated to help you create sites for your HR department, to showcase events, and like I mentioned, a template that's powered by Microsoft Syntex to do contract management. With our new HR and events templates, you'll be able to build sites that highlight and showcase your content and share this information broadly with your organization. The HR site brings together all of the information your employees need to navigate the complexities of employment and benefits. Our new event template includes many great layout suggestions and will highlight any upcoming event that you're planning. Now, with the Microsoft Syntex powered contracts management template, you can learn more about how Syntex works and be able to get started right away. This template comes with a pre-built tutorial and some established models designed to help your team get started with Microsoft Syntex and actually get started doing some of that Syntex value of helping you better understand your content, better tag, and of course, better organize and then discover the content. What a great way to start with a template to help you jumpstart actually using a new technology. At the end, you will see if you try one of these or use all 20 or however many we have now. Templates save you a ton of time. They target specific scenarios, and they help train you in the art of the possible. They're highly configurable after you deploy them, so don't feel like you get locked in. And there's a great growing collection of templates. These are 3 new ones, but there are a lot of templates for team sites, for communication sites. If you have a site need, definitely check to see if we've got a template first. Grab it, go, get your site at least kickstarted. Save yourself a ton of time, but definitely don't forget, it really does show you the art of the possible. If you're still new to SharePoint, the SharePoint site templates will really show you all the things that you can accomplish within the site itself. Now, to round out teamwork, let's talk a little bit about admins from a SharePoint perspective. In the SharePoint Admin Center, we are streamlining the management of site information across Microsoft Teams and Microsoft 365 groups. SharePoint, we're updating the site detail pane when you're in an individual site that includes Microsoft Teams and Microsoft 365 groups information. Admins that have permissions to SharePoint, Teams, and groups can now manage all related attributes. That's membership, group name, description, and a whole bunch of other things that you can do now managing directly from that site description pane. So from the single site detail pane in the SharePoint Admin Center, you'll find this under Active Sites tab. SharePoint admins with SharePoint only permissions will have read-only access to the new attributes, meaning you can at least review what's been applied to the team or to the Microsoft 365 group. You at least have that visibility and may need to contact somebody else to actually update or change them. So let's switch over to related technology. I've got a couple here that I gathered because they just caught my eye. I think you'll be interested in them. And I kept them pretty short since I wanted to include more rather than less. So the first one is the support of sign language view for Microsoft Teams. The Teams team is introducing a new sign language experience in Teams meetings to help meeting participants who use sign language to prioritize interpreters and other sign language users so that they remain visible in a static central location on the meeting stage with higher video quality and specific to sign language users inside the organization that you work with regularly, such as regular interpreters. They can be prioritized across all meetings by adding them to a prioritized signer list under Settings to Accessibility in the Teams app. Sign language view is a personal user-level setting and is visible only to those who have it turned on. It will not be shown to the rest of the meeting participants, and the feature is presently available only on Teams desktop. So to get a little bit more into this, sign language view addresses 3 key concerns raised by deaf and hard of hearing users. It keeps interpreters and other signers in a static location unaffected by the dynamic placement of other videos as people enter or exit the meeting. It simplifies the meeting join process by providing settings for sign language and captioning that persists across all meetings. And it keeps interpreters and other signers visible and prioritized even when other content is shared or unshared. As the meeting changes, that always stays as a constant, so they are always staying engaged and, of course, can follow along with the content. I think it's a really great feature and it's really implemented nicely. If you are listening to this podcast, hop over to either the blog that I've published or there's a distinct blog for this feature. It gives a really nice visual of how this works and what it looks like. Next related technology, editor using Context IQ. This is inline search within documents in Word for Web. So that's a mouthful, but what really it is it's giving you greater, more granular ways of bringing in other pieces of content or other people right in line with your Word document. And this is within the editor experience. So if you're in edit mode, using Context IQ allows you to easily search for or insert entities like people, files, Viva topics, or loops directly into the document. And this is specifically right now for Word for the Web. Keeps you in your flow and an easy at mention key and start typing ahead, and you can start to add a lot of those different content types or people directly then linkable as things that people can learn more from, either by hovering or clicking into them to learn more. But it really brings that experience of at mentioning somebody to at mentioning again, files, topics, and other ways to expand the knowledge that's inside your Word documents. Next, staying with that Word document entity mindset, users can now upload documents from OneDrive in eSign in the approvals experience. That means that you can upload your documents directly from OneDrive and request e-signatures when a new approval request is created. If users receive an e-signature request, they can also cancel or decline the request. It's a really nice new workflow within OneDrive, and it really binds it to keep it a single source of truth, but to get that signature, and that's specifically with the eSign technology. Next is a super useful one if you're an Outlook user and you always have beautiful signatures in your emails. Outlook for Windows is now having cloud signatures. This enhancement changes the signature data where it's stored from a per device to a per account, which means the same set of signatures will be available in any Windows, Microsoft 365, or web version of Outlook, and you will no longer need to reconfigure your signatures when getting a new device, which will just save you a lot of time, but it also just makes it a more consistent experience. When you create a new email, there's a signature as you designed it, and off you go no matter where you do that from, in more places going forward. Now, last related technology is related about a technology. It's an event. I usually don't have a ton of event information in the roadmap pit stop, but this one's pretty timely. And if you're kind of growing your knowledge base around what is Microsoft Viva Engage, especially in the context of if you have been using or aware of Yammer, there is a great 2022 Yammer and Viva Engage festival, and it's right around the corner if you're listening to this earlier in the release on December 7th. The Viva Engage team is excited to be partnering with Swoop Analytics to host this 2022 Yammer and Viva Engage Festival. The event is for customers and partners and anybody that wants to learn from each other and hear how to build culture and community in your own organization. So if you're launching something and starting to roll out Viva Engage, or you're not quite sure where to begin and you're wanting to see where are we on this roadmap with Viva Engage and how it relates to Yammer, both past, present, and future, there's a session that covers all of that, or sessions in general for you to dive deeper, and of course people engaging on that day to be available for questions, comments, and of course your feedback. So look for that event. I'll have a link in the show notes. Register for it. It's a free event. A lot of great people, a lot of great sessions outlined. You can really read ahead and see if it's an event that you want to attend. I would highly recommend it if you at all even have an inkling of a desire or curiosity about Viva Engage. It's the right people, it's the right time, and it looks to be a great event. So let's move into teasers. I know this is where your brain gets tickled about, okay, these aren't available yet, but they're just around the corner and I want them desperately. So let's move beyond drawing board into what's coming soon, that's actually about to land, this future with great certainty in December 2022. Teaser number 1, Viva Topics bringing new integrations with Yammer. That means you can add topics to your Yammer posts and your community threads. It's really nice integration. I've seen this at play, and it certainly adds value. And now you can add topics with just a simple hashtag and then layer that topic in to add more knowledge without adding length to the actual post. Teaser number 2, Microsoft lists the calendar week view. We've had in market already the calendar month view. Now you can choose between month view, week view, and of course you can publish multiple views to your heart's content. But we've gotten a lot of feedback. Week view is really important, so get your week on. That's it with this month's peek ahead. We'll share more details and other updates within the SharePoint Roadmap Pit Stop December 2022 edition coming to you next month. To wrap up here, we've added a lot of learn more links per feature, plus a list of important resources in the show notes that are also in the corresponding blog post that is published in the Microsoft Tech community to the SharePoint community blog. I hope you've enjoyed this roadmap pit stop. You can now pump the brakes. You can now kick your heels up. You can now get that turkey into your belly and get some tryptophan so you can relax into a nice slumber. You are all caught up. If anything leaves you scratching your head with any open questions, concerns, or feedback, please send us your thoughts and comments to theintrozone@microsoft.com. This is Mark Cashman saying, templatize the roadmap ahead, and you will be happy all the while for it.